I don't usually do product reviews, but I think this is probably the most important thing that I use. It is a loop station called the RC505. And for the longest time, there was blaring issues with the hardware on the first model, and they made the big brother of it called the RC505 MKII recently. It just came out. If you were trying to buy a loop station, they would probably peddle you this one. And I'm here to say, as someone who has basically 1 million subs off working and using this for a living, don't buy it. This thing, although they facelifted it and added a whole bunch of new effects and better sliders, arguably, and a whole bunch of crazier effects, the software on this is completely broken. And I'm not going to edit this video to explain every single little thing with you and give you an analysis and tell you that this is the issue if you press this button. I've done all this. I've sat here and I think I can kind of describe it pretty well. This thing is constantly trying to force you to quantize your beats. Now what that means is if I did and then I tried to sit here and play a piano line for 4 measures, guess what? It's going to cut one of those measures because it's trying for some reason to time stretch the entire performance for my phrase of piano for no reason. Even though I have loop sync off and all these new effects they added to quantize your beats, this thing is not a free loop station anymore. Now what that means is that back in the day when you used to use the RC505 MK1, you would literally be able to do whatever you wanted. You would be able to go and it would be looping perfectly, and then you can go in and the moment you press the button it starts recording, and the moment you press the button off it stops recording. And there might be a lapse in that, but if you understand measures and you have a good rhythm inside of your head, you'll be fine. This thing doesn't allow that type of looping anymore. It is a completely different type of looper. You have to use the clock. You have to completely be within the confines of the measures. You can't instantly start playing something. You have to wait for some reason. There's a big issue with this where if you're sitting there and you have a loop and you start trying to loop on the 4th or the 5th one, either of these have different measures you're allowed to come in or different beats you're allowed to come in to the loop depending on the measure length. It is completely stupid. It is completely broken, and it's almost like when Jeeps became Chryslers and they put a shitty engine in it, but they made them look cooler. It doesn't matter that this thing has better sliders that still feel like plastic Chinese junk. What matters is that the software on this thing is completely broken. Now, I'm not sponsored, obviously, and I've seen so many people simp for this company because they, rather are sponsored or they think that, they're going to get a free loop station one day. Listen, man, I would much rather pay $650 than have to deal with all the issues that I've seen online about this loop station as well. What's crazy is I thought I was insane. I literally have been sitting here for 3 weeks trying to loop with my new loop station thinking, wow, I don't know what I'm doing actually. Maybe I should do this. Maybe I should quantize this. Maybe I should switch this. I bought an entire master class on it. I did so much just to try to make this thing work. And then I found a Facebook page of people, hundreds of people who bought the MK2 absolutely railing on it. I found all of the issues I had and then even more, such as a lot of the effects don't work properly. If you're using the phone's output, you can't actually hear a lot of what's happening inside of the loop station. I've heard, I have an issue where I have to turn off my computer constantly if I want to have the USB audio interface work for some reason. It is perplexing how they put this thing out and then expect you to pay, $200 more than their previous model when their previous model works perfectly fine. The only reason I even want to use this is that it has a whole much more headroom for live looping with instruments. The biggest issue with the previous version is when I put my left right in and I try to loop with it, I get a whole bunch of issues audio wise. So this has been great in terms of that. There's obviously good things about this hardware wise. They just need to get their stuff together, and I'm telling you, don't buy it right now. Don't be an early adopter, okay? Like me, because I'm an idiot and I thought they were going to put something good out, okay? wait, buy the MK1 if you want to loop. Learn how to loop in Ableton. Learn how to do something else, because right now, and from what I've seen when it comes to Boss and Roland, is that they're going to take months to fix this. They're going to ask people who aren't loop station artists, in terms of people who are actively touring and making music with it and are like professionals and use instruments and stuff like that. They're going to ask like the beatboxer that made a good video with their MK1 4 years ago, and that's unfortunate, because I think the problem with this is that there's a lot more case usage than just being a beatbox loop station artist. And even if you are a beatbox loop station artist, the problems on this thing and the complexity of how the effects work and the lack of like simplicity that made the first loop station so good is nowhere to be found here. They tried to make this so much more complicated, and it's almost like they put a horrible engine into a good, reliable car and made the body of that car look way cooler. Okay? I don't know why I'm making this video. Like, it's 4 a.m. and I just found this Facebook page and I realized I'm not crazy. After, I'm like, I have almost 1 million subs doing music, and I'm sitting here like, I'm stupid, I'm not smart, I don't know how to loop. It's like, dude, I do. I really know what I'm doing. So if it's coming from me, it's not coming from some dude who's like, I am Bertland, I live in Germany and I use the synthesizer. I'm like, no, like, I have an entire studio specifically meant for this thing, and I have an entire template, and this thing is broken. So I'm gonna have to start using the MK1 again if I want to work, and that's the unfortunate truth. I hope you guys listen. Maybe this will be fixed in 6 months from when this video is posted, but right now, don't be an early adopter. Their customer support is horrible. I've seen people like try to get it fixed, and literally boss is like, oh, could you use another computer and see if it works? Like, they're like, yo, could you debug for us? No, don't support this company right now. Don't support this loop station. Buy yourself an MK1 or a foot pedal and learn there, okay? So that's my video. I'm obviously pissed off enough to put a video up on a channel with 150,000 subs complaining about this. And I feel bad, because I am someone who has probably sold more of this product than 99% of the people that they've talked to in making this product. And I feel like by doing so, I've now sold people a lemon. I've told people to buy it. I've had people hit me up and be like, I bought a RC505 because of you. And it sucks, because I'm like, I don't want to tarnish the good Wobbles name by telling you guys to buy something broken. It's broken right now. It does not work. There's going to be people in the comments that are going to say, oh yeah, you should just work through the problems though, man. You should make it work. Fuck you. Okay? How about when you spend $700 on something, it works better than the previous version of it? Oh, but it's early. You should just let it. Oh yeah, I should just let it gestate in my studio. This thing that I just bought for way too much money, and use the old version and wait 6 months for this to be fixed. Right? Your comments and the people that I've seen like trying to fight for this thing are completely stupid. Okay? You shouldn't have to readjust how you loop with the second version of a loop station that you learned on. I'm sorry. I know that might be like, oh, well, that's just how it is right now. No, you should be mad. You shouldn't allow a company or a corporation to completely make horrible stuff and then give them the benefit of the doubt because they made something good at one point. That's my opinion. Don't buy this thing. Rant over. Owned.